Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, Event Builder 1, the first part of a series where we take a deep dive into the registration module of Stova. I'm your trainer today, Steve McGillivray. I work in the Office of University Events and Protocol, and am one of two Stova account admins here at the university. And so today, we're talking about a deep dive into these different features. We will be creating a registration site and then taking our time for me to tell you things to worry about, things are optional to worry about, and things you don't have to worry about at all in the creation of your registration sites. So, as always, when I begin one of these webinars, I like to do a little housekeeping. If you heard when you came in the room, this session is being recorded, and the link to this video will be shared with you via email in the next day or so. As we go through the trainings, you may see some other company names appear besides Stova. You may see Eventry. You may see eTouches. The company has gone through some name changes throughout the years, and it's still the same platform, only the name has changed, so do not be alarmed. Then as we go through the presentation, if you have questions, feel free to post them in the chat, and I will try to catch them as we go, or you can just unmute your microphone and ask me to clarify the point we're talking about, or if you prefer, we can wait till the end of the presentation where there will be time for final questions and demonstrations. So this is what we're covering today. Again, today we're covering the first parts of creating a registration site, how we recommend you do it, the advantages of making a copy of an ASU template we've created for our users. After that, we'll go into the first section of a registration site, putting in the basic event details. We'll talk about how you can use a registration for group bookings, meaning a person comes in and can submit registrations for other members of their party. And also, if you want to allow registrants to come back into their registrations and modify them or cancel them, how do you set that up? And finally, today we'll be talking about the waitlisting feature built into a Stova registration site. Okay, so this is the event that we are building throughout this series. Again, this is a multi-part series. You'll see this pop up every time I do these trainings. We are doing a big event, a conference and expo where it's going to happen over multiple days and have multiple sessions occurring during the conference, plus a trade show. Our audience is from around the world, and we're going to use the registration site to collect information from everyone connected to the event, attendees, vendors and exhibitors, people who are sponsoring the event, and also for our staff. This is a paid event, so we'll show you in a future episode how to apply fees and discounts for different things in the system. And then to make it even more interesting or difficult for me, we'll deal with those situations where perhaps you are offering free passes for one of your groups coming in. In my case, exhibitors get to have some reps connected, and how do we collect that information? So not much of this is going to affect us today other than setting up the event, but keep this in mind if you come to future webinars of the series. So let's start. And as usual, I start these webinars by going to our support page where I can click into my user account. Here, this always works. If you've bookmarked the site and you get to a different site that doesn't look like this, go back to our support site, click that button. And ASU users who have a Stova account for their departments would use their ASU right IDs in this field. And you may hit the ASU single sign-on login screen. I have been in this account before, so that's why I didn't see it this time. It remembers for some time. And now, where am I? I am in the registration module and in the events list screen. So we'll do a little basic navigation training here. So I don't see any events right now. That's because I'm in the cloud level and nobody sees anything when they're in the cloud level. I have to go over to the folder list over on the left and I have to select a folder to see what its contents are. So I'm going to go to my unit folder, the College of Really Cool Ideas, and there they are. There are my events. Now, if I don't find it here in this list, a couple of things I could do. One is I could check over here in these filters to make sure all the event types are checked or all the statuses are checked. If they are, they should be here. If they're not here, perhaps they're in another folder inside my team folder. And I can search for them up here at the top by entering the name here. And I could also just search for them manually if I want to by opening my team folder. If I see a little plus sign in front of the folder, that means there's more folders inside. And there they are. And to see their contents, I have to click on a folder to see them, okay? So I want to create a new event, and you might see this Create New Event button up here, but we do not recommend that you start here. If you click the big blue button, we call it, you will create a blank slate, a Stova branded blank. And while you could do this, it can take some time and some experience before you understand what you are actually seeing in a brand new Stova registration site. We have provided all units an ASU template, and we suggest starting up with that template, a copy of that. It is faster for you. It's got many of the most common features already enabled. It has the attendee info questions you ask people. If you click the big blue button, you would see everything on that page. And we've cleaned that up for you to show what we think most people want to see. And you'll see that as we go through the demonstration. Also, we have put ASU branding in place both on the website level and inside the emails. And email templates are included for many of the features in Stova. And if you don't know that you need those emails for some of the things that are triggered, you could get in trouble later. So this is what we recommend is find that ASU template, look for the 01 ASU brand template folder inside your unit folder, click on it again to see its contents, and there you have it. Now, 4.3.4 is the most recent version, but if you have a version that's 4.3 in that series, you're fine. Those are still the most recent templates. If you do not see a series 4.3 in your templates folder, contact us and we'd be happy to share a copy of the latest. Now, if I clicked on this, I would be taken into the template, and I don't want to make changes to my template. I want to make a copy or a clone. So I'm going to hit the clone button right there. And then this screen appears. And so first off, I'm going to change the name. And this is the and it's happening this year. Now the second field is the folder that this event website is going to be in, and it defaults into the one I cloned from, so the templates folder. And here's a little tip, is we recommend that you move this, and this is one way to reassign it. Right here on creation, I'll put this at the very top level. But if I had another folder that I'm using for organization in my team folder, I could select that here as well. There are other ways to move a registration site and files in Stova, and this is one of three I can think of off the top of my head. Down here where it says which of the events modules you want to clone, if you were cloning registration sites you had created previously or that some other member of your team had created, you might see other modules listed here. Those are event registration enhancement modules. This is your opportunity to clean that up. If you no longer need them, they didn't work out for you, you would be able to check those boxes so they're disabled, and then they won't be copied. And if you want to enable them later, you have the option. But once they're enabled, they can't be turned off, is the point. So I do want to keep registration checked because that is the module I want to work in. So I'm going to hit submit. And as it's grinding away, now I pop up in this, and this is that list of other registration enhancement modules I was talking about. They can also appear over on the upper right hand corner. Same thing here. So this is the only time you'll see this page with this kind of listing, and you can enable these modules by clicking on them here, or after you've left this page, you can enable them simply by going over to the right and clicking one of them and going through that setup process. All right. But I'm not interested in turning any of these on. I want to stay on registration. Now, when you have created your registration site and you're going to return to it, if you were to click its name from the event list, you would be taken into this page called the overview page. And if you're wondering how I got there, it's over in the upper left-hand corner. This, as the name implies, is an overview of your event. And here, let me just point out the second way that you can move your event around. And from within the registration site, this folder field here actually is functional. You can move your site by changing its location here and then saving those changes. I didn't really do it, did I? Good. Just an FYI. Some other things you are seeing here is if you create websites in Stova or marketing emails or surveys and link them to this registration site, you will see them listed over on the right-hand side. And then you can use this to navigate directly to them. Also, as you start taking in registrations, a little graph will show up here to give you an idea of how the registrations are coming in. What are the peaks and valleys? So if you've just sent an email, you know what date it is, you can kind of come and see, oh, I can see the peak of registrations after we sent that email. Wonderful. Okay. What's most important on the overview page, especially the first time you create a site, is to scroll down here on what are called the ASU merge fields. Now in Stova, merge fields are fields where you can pull data and put them into your website or into emails. And that's what these fields are for some of our template functions. You want to update these because these are used in our event emails, which we'll be talking about later in our program. So they only come up blank in our template, so let me add some of our unit names. And I've done this a few times, so I'm going to get the browser asking for that kind of thing. Okay, so that's updated there, and our unit email. And we make it easy to update the copyright. If you've seen some of the ASU emails, there's always a copyright in the bottom of the page. You can update that across all emails in the registration site simply by updating this. 2026 is correct. And to save changes to a site, you have two choices. You have the Save and Stay button and the Save and Exit button. What's the difference? Well, again, as the name implies, if I was to click Save and Stay, I would save these changes and stay on the page I'm on. That's what I'm going to use here. If I was to use Save and Exit, then I'm saving my changes but moving back a step in the system. From this page, the overview page, I would be taken back to the events page. Okay, so just be aware of that as you're going throughout the system. That's a convention throughout Stova, Save and Stay versus Save and Exit. But whatever, either one you use, you definitely want to click those before you leave a page if you have made any changes. another little tip here, if you have cloned a registration site and you're wondering how old is the template that this was used on, there is a way to find that out. You can come to the overview page and then go to the ASU reporting tab here, and this will tell you what version of the template you're using. Like I said, if it's 4.3, you're using the latest series of updates. If you have something earlier than that, 4.2 or earlier, you might want to consider using a new clone of the template for your next event. If it's blank, it either means your event site is very old, possibly out of date and beyond features, or somebody clicked the big blue button. Okay? None of these have any functions other than reporting purposes for us, just so you know. So go back here. All right. So to actually start working on making changes to the registration site, I want to go to the registration settings page. There are two ways to do it. One is to click the little pencil icon here. You'll see it on every page. That'll take you back there. Or I can go over to hold my mouse over registrations, and then I have all of these basically quick links to different parts of my registration site, and one of them is registration settings. Wonderful. Some other things that have happened as soon as I've created my registration site is first, I have been given a unique number for the event. So if I'm looking for an event in Stova, I can search by this serial number. Also a note is if you ever contact us or a Stova support with specific questions about an event registration, please include the event name and the number, and it helps us go right there, saves you an extra step, and get your support faster if we can see what it is you're talking about. Now, the other thing that's happened is you've been given a unique URL for registration, and that's over here under your event URL. So if I was to click that, it would open up a page where I can begin a registration. Okay. What else here? So you're seeing what's shown by default as our template has some default dates in it. It has a default location. That's what's showing up here. And if I need to get back to my events list, little navigation again, I can either click the events tab at the top here, or I can click the hamburger and display the hidden menu bar and go to view all events. Okay. You can also find some information about this registration site here by holding your mouse over the eye. And this is going to tell you who created this site, who was the last person to change this site, was it a clone from a previous site, and also which folder contains this. So if you have lost an event, but you're able to find it through search, and you still don't know which folder it's in, you can go into the event through search and then see, oh, it's in that folder. Okay, now I know. All right. All right. So again, some more navigation things over on the registration module. What are some of these different quick links? Preview event will open up a web page to give you a static view of your site. So what I mean by static is it doesn't work. It's just a way to get a snapshot. I mean, you can fill in the field, but if you hit continue, you will not go forward in the registration process. This is a great way to check your work as you go on, as you're adding text or images or modifying, and you just want to see what does that look like on here, and do I have everything looking the way I want to. And you can advance page by active page at the very top. And we're going to talk about categories in Event Builder 2, but if you have different categories for your different guests coming in, you can customize what they see. Here's how you can check your work by selecting that category. So that's, again, preview event. The next one, public registration, is the same as if I was to click that link that takes me to the site where the general public can fill out. Now, this is the live site, and if I start to fill this out, this will work. continue, we'll go on to the next page. Right now, I'm in pre-event status, and that's why I'm seeing this message about I am currently testing. Every time you create a new site, you are automatically put in pre-event status. Next is admin registration. And so admin registration is for you as the event coordinator. If you want a way to quickly add someone to your event, you can click admin, and it's similar to registration, except all the graphics have been stripped out because you don't need to see them. And you have this extra feature about skipping required fields, right? So if you made a long form, but for some reason you just need to get the person's email address and first name, last name in your system quickly, that's what you can do. Just a note, skipping required fields will work only, well, up into the payment page. So if you have an event that requires payment, you will not be able to skip the payment page. We have a solution to that, so tune in to Event Builder 3 or 4 when we talk about that. But if your event doesn't have fees or payments, no problem. You'll be able to skip required fields and complete a registration. So that is what admin registration is about. The other quick links are for some of the advanced features and reports available in Stova, and some of the most used reports are here as well. Registrant list, summary report. We talk about those in a totally different webinar. And you see the navigation up here. You are in the back end when you see all of these different tabs. We're going to go through these through Event Builder 1, but today I'm just going to focus on event info and basic details and registrant roles and waitlisting. Okay. So again, we've already added our name, but if I need to update that name, we can do it here in this field. Again, a couple of Stova conventions for you. If it's a required field by the system, you'll see the little red asterisk there next to the field name. If you have a question about what the feature or field is about, there'll be a little question mark. You hold your mouse over that, and a little tooltip will appear. Event code is just internal. It's for you. It's for reporting purposes, and so it's optional for your use. The event URL. So we have something called URL masking in place, which is why the system is saying this is NA Events Cloud. That's the Stova name for our site, but we have put a special website for ASU, so it looks more like an ASU URL when people land on it. But what this event URL allows you to do is, if you would like to, you can change that backend. If you notice, we've got our event number back there as part of our URL. If we want to make something that just looks nicer, we want to use it as a short link and print it on a poster or something, we can create a little Stova plus. Really? I've used that before? Oh, I can't use those characters. Got it. I can create a little short name for my site, and when I hit the save and stay, now you see my URL has been updated to show that, there we go, that new short link. Okay, again, an optional feature for you to use. Custom redirects is not anything you need to worry about. That's a whole different feature. Event type. This is for reporting purposes. If you want to compare an event type in your reporting, you want to see a master list of everyone who came to a reception or to a conference or a workshop. That's what event type is in. It's optional, and so we have a long list of different event types that you can select, describe what this event is, and then later bring it into what's called a cross-event report. Not required field. Event status, again, I said we start with a new registration site in pre-event, so that everything we do here is a test. When we submit registrations, they'll be marked as tests, so nothing is being counted against our account. Before you begin accepting live registrations, though, you will want to come in here and change it to live. And we'll go through that in 4, but the short version is you go live after your testing is complete. You've submitted registrations, sample registrations, make sure the flow is correct, making sure you're getting the emails as you would like to see them, etc. Okay, then you would go live, and then you would share that URL with your audience. Okay, some other statuses here as well. After your event is over, it will be automatically archived or changed to archived after 90 days after the end date. If something happens, you just need to stop registrations coming in. You can mark it as canceled, you can mark it as closed, you can mark it as sold out. And then the on-site is if you want to stop taking registrations but still use some of the on-site features like check-in. Okay, you just simply select whichever you need and then hit save and stay. So I'm going to keep it a pre-event. Event image is used by a feature in the website builder of Stova, so nothing to do with the registration site. The event calendar and the enterprise calendar are features that Stova offers as far as generating a calendar, but we don't use these features. It would, the enterprise calendar for ASU and all of the different units, that would be crazy. So you can ignore these two. Next, we have maximum registrations and registration close dates. These are two different ways to close registrations for your event. You can enter a maximum number, total number of people coming in, enter a number here, hit save and stay, and once you've reached that number, the site will automatically close. Alternatively, or in combination with that, you can also close your registration at a certain date and time. So this is something I'm going to change for my event. My event's going to be in May, and I'm going to close this the day before my event, and sure, I'll keep it at 5 o'clock, end of business day. Sounds good. Now, whenever you have something in the system that's going to stop registrations, you're also going to see a field that will allow you to put a message when something has closed. And we have put some text in here for you. And another convention of Stova is if you see a field and you have this little symbol next to it, this is an HTML field. So there's a way for you to format the text that displays. And what you're seeing is the HTML coding. What you want to do is click on that icon and you'll go into the content editor where you can edit the HTML, whatever you would like to do. And after you've made your changes, hit update and exit, and they will be updated here as well. The event description is another optional field for you to, if you want to use this on one of your pages or in an email to describe the event. Here's one way to put it into a field that you can use over and over again using those merge codes I was talking about earlier. I have a little text I'll put in. Now, one thing about putting text in a HTML field, if I just put in text and I say I see I've got some breaks in here, it looks like it's appearing as breaks. That actually will not appear as breaks unless there's HTML code in it. So if I was to go into the editor, it's going to show me this is one big text block. If I don't want it to display like that, if I actually want those text blocks, I've got to go into the HTML content editor and I've got to put those in here and then update this. And there are the codes, and now it will display with those line breaks as I want them to appear. Wonderful. Just another thing to keep in mind. The program manager is just an internal use field, and we would just ask that you put the name of the person. Occasionally we use this to, if we have questions about an event, something we see in the back end is happening, we'd like to find who the contact is. A couple ways for us to find that out, but it's helpful for us if you would put that in. Client contact and launching notes, again, just two more fields where you can put notes for your own self or your own staff. Now we go on to the next section, event location. In fact, I'm going to hit save and stay before I go on just so I don't forget. I wish you would stop that. All right. Well, we put in the Memorial Union as just a template version, but you can put whatever location name you want. It's the name of the building. It's the maybe you're doing virtual or you're doing hybrid. That's what you want to call it. Again, each of these fields can be used as a merge code in your emails or website. I'm going to keep that the same. And the select, just so you know, the select venue button opens up a search field if you are going to do something that's off ASU's campuses in a hotel or conference area. It's possible that that information, contact information, and location information is already stored within Stova, and you can search for it within their system. And if you find it, click select, and then Stova will populate those fields for you. So, handy feature if you're doing something outside of ASU. Next is the actual event start time and start date and end time and end date. Again, these are displayed in our emails, can be displayed on your website. If you leave these blank, that means that this event registration site will never close. Up to you. I think I'm just going to keep those as they are for now for my event. Date format is how you determine how dates that you've selected here, how are they going to display in those emails and on that website. Again, we've pre-selected one, day, month, day, and year, but you can pick from any of these. This is a selection that's either personal choice or whatever works best for your intended audience, right? And some options for displaying the day as the 3rd or the 5th. Also, what time format do you want times to display on? 24-hour clocks are available, so if you're doing something with the military time makes sense, you might want to use these. And on time zone. Now, of course, in our template, we've assumed you're in Arizona. But if you are doing an event in some other state, you might want to update this. Or if you're doing a virtual event, you might want to pick a time zone to display dates that make sense for a virtual event. Doesn't always make sense to do it in Arizona time or Mountain Standard Time. Not everyone understands how Arizona works. You might want to do times in Pacific Time or East Coast Time or maybe even GMT, depending on your audience. Whatever you select here and save will update this field, and this is just showing you what time it is in that particular time zone. Okay? Now, another convention in Stova is sometimes you do not see options until a field starts to get some data in it, and the event homepage is one of those. Once I start typing, look. Now I have some other options to look at or to decide on. Do I want event logos? Do I want this to appear on every page, that kind of thing? You can read these and decide that for yourself. The contact info is a field that's used in our emails of our template, so you should update this. Do I have a... I do. Let's see if I've got my... Excellent. I'm not a fast typer. I just have a little utility that allows me to put information quickly into some of these fields. That's how I want my info to look on emails. And I'm going to hit save and stay. All right. Just taking one last look. Is there anything I want to point out about any of these fields? No, I think I am good. Unless any of you all have questions. I don't see anything in the chat. And hearing none, Nobody popping on in the mic? I'm going to carry on to the next section. Now I'm going to move on to registrant rules. And if you click the big blue button, none of these features will be enabled. But if you clicked our template, we have enabled these for you. We just assumed that people would want to have group bookings enabled. And to disable them, if you don't want group bookings, you want people to submit a registration, a one and done, then what you can do is simply click the box here and and hit save and stay, and that disables the feature. Okay, so I'm going to leave that on. Again, we're not talking about categories today, but I can choose to have specific categories use this feature and then not others. So in my, say I'm in an ASU situation where I'm having faculty, staff, and students, and I've had those categories, maybe I'm allowing the faculty and the staff to bring guests, but if students are coming to this event, no, I'm just having them sign up one by one. I don't expect a student to bring their friends, right? Again, you can read through all of these options to see what might suit your needs. We have enabled one where in the feature, when you add another user, the system will always ask for the email address of that guest and then whatever additional information you want. That's how Stova can tell who is coming to the event, preferably a unique email address and first name and last name at the minimum. So once you've got that, we thought this would be handy to send the confirmation email to everyone to prevent them from coming to register themselves if their friend or spouse had registered already on their behalf. And also this allows just everyone in the group to know. You can limit how many extra guests a person does. So if you're doing a +1 situation down here, the maximum number of attendees, simply add a 1. First person in is the primary attendee is the term used. Everyone else is an additional attendee. So just add a 1, hit save and stay, and you've got a +1 situation. Okay. Now you should use the group registration settings for any scenario where you expect a person to have a guest. I know you see this down here, guest registration permissions, but we and Stova recommends you do not use this. It looks like it's made for the +1, but there are actually some limitations to this feature, such as even though you're going to have a +1, the guest's name cannot be put on badging. It won't count against any event maximums. So it's just a more restrictive type of feature. During our trainings, we were recommended just ignore this and use the group registration permissions instead, and we're going to pass that recommendation off to you. Okay, and down here are the modification permissions. Do you want to allow your registrants to be able to go back into the registration sites to make modifications and or cancel the registrations? If you don't, you can disable that from our template by just clicking this button here and hitting save, and they will not be able to modify and get back in. If you are allowing them to modify, as has been turned on here, they need a couple of things. First, they need to go back in through a special URL. And this information is in the event emails we've programmed in our template automatically. Okay, and it automatically updates for each registration site. If you need the direct link, here it is listed for you if you need to know. Okay, so they have to go back to this. And then they have to know 2 pieces of information to log back in to verify who they are. And which are those 2 pieces of information are here in field 1 and field 2. By default, we're asked for the email address from the registration and what's called the reference number. Every attendee who registers gets a unique reference number, also called a conferee number. And that is one field that can be used for this. But you can choose anything on the registration site as either of these fields. So if you prefer to use a last name, We haven't begun to modify the attendee info page yet, so I'm only seeing what's here in our template. But as I add more fields, those will be available. So maybe you want to make a passwords field, or you want to ask a special question to get people back in. If you're allowing that, that's what you can do. Just let you know that's what this is about. This section here deals with when they do come back in the registration, what are you going to allow them to change? Are you going to allow them to change attendee info? Again, are the questions you ask, your first name, your last name, contact information, any questions you've created. The agenda is if you have created sessions for your event, are you going to allow them to cancel or clear out or select other sessions in the agenda? Options is a way to provide merchandise or ask additional questions. Are you going to have them change that? Hotel and travel bookings, we do have a tab for that. Can they change what one of their guests in the guest grouping or group booking can do? There's an approval section. Can they change that? Can they add even more attendees when they start to modify? And again, the cancel attendees, do you want to allow them to cancel their whole registration? One word about cancel attendee or cancel their registrations is if you have a paid event and you're allowing your attendees to cancel, while they will cancel, the system will not automatically refund the money. Refunds are always done in a different system called Quick Pay, not through Stova itself. This is really for the tracking purposes. So if you do enable this, don't think your work is done about giving refunds. No, there's more steps for you to do. So be aware of that if you use that feature. Now, if we are in a group booking situation, you also have some choices of modifications. Who can modify? And these are the choices you have. The primary attendee, again, that first person in, is called the primary attendee. Is that person responsible for any changes to anyone in their group? Or can anyone in the group change their own registrations, which is what's enabled by default in our template? Lastly, can anyone in the group change anyone else in the group? Is available. Also, what you have available is controlling where people land when they come back to modify. They don't have to go back to the very beginning and go through attendee info, guest information, attendees. You can control where you want them to go. Why would you use this? Well, I'm not going to see it here because I haven't enabled payment settings yet, but perhaps they need to go back to their site just to pay a balance due. I could make the modification system so that they will go back to the payment page. Oh, it is there. It is available. But here are the different options. So when they come back to modify, I can control the flow of the modification process and say, where do I want you to go? Maybe I want you to go back to agenda and because we just added some new sessions. Or I had a use case or a customer that created the registration site first and then added the agenda later and wanted their users to go back to then select sessions. That's a way to do it. Okay? So you have that kind of control. Just to point it out, because again, we're doing a deep dive on this section. If you scroll down further, we do have some tools for preventing certain people from registering for your events at all. These are called the block lists. So event level is a way for you to create a list of people and their email addresses so that they are not able to register if they enter their address. Okay. The account level is if your unit needs a list that's going to be used in any event they do, you need to contact us and provide us with that list, and we can program that for you. A couple of words about this. If you are using this, you decide what that message should be, and I was just being polite. Maybe just a simple closed message is all you need. You don't have to say, you've been blocked. Also, you might want to make sure you've got a paper trail on who's requesting that certain people be blocked, just to have that as a extra security for yourself if you get those requests and there are questions about it later. Okay, save it no more. All right. So I don't think we're going to take the entire 90 minutes I had scheduled for this, which is fine because there's plenty of time for more questions. But unless there are more questions about group bookings or modification permissions, I am going to move on. Seeing nothing in the chat. And okay, thumbs up. Moving on. Now we're going to move on to waitlisting. The waitlisting feature here is used if you have a limit to the event at the event level, back on event info, basic details, or categories. Categories keeps coming up, and it is common. And there is a way to put a limit just on categories. So if I wanted to, in that scenario of faculty, staff, and student, maybe I want to limit how many students can come in. I can limit them, not at the event level, because that would be limiting for everybody, but I could limit number of students in by saying in the category X number of students. Okay, but perhaps I want to allow people to give me their names and put them on a wait list and then contact them if a seat opens up. Again, this feature, waitlisting, works event level and category level. To enable it, just simply check here. Now I can't save yet until I fill out at least the fields that have the red asterisks, the required fields. Okay? So I need to say, what is the link going to say? What's the text of the link going to say that people are going to click? How about something like, how about something simple? The next required field is waitlist processing mode, and there are two options. The automatic processing means that if I cancel or some person cancels their registration, the system will send an email to the first person on the wait list, with a link to finish their registration process and a deadline, a limited time to come back and fill that out. And then if they do, they get the confirmation email, also a triggered email. The other option is manually, meaning I'm going to decide who gets that email when there is a cancellation or there's an open seat. Both of these processes or this mode require 2 emails in the event emails section. And these come with our template. One is to confirm that they've added themselves to the wait list. And the other is that email that says, hey, a seat has opened up. Click this link and to sign up, and you've got so much time to do it. Okay. A couple of times people have either deleted those emails, not knowing what they were, or again, they click the big blue button and then enable waitlisting and say, why aren't people being added off the wait list? It's like, well, you missed a step. You need these emails for that to happen. So even if you're doing the manual process, you'll want those 2 emails, the confirmation for the triggered confirmation of registering, but also later on when you add that, want to send them the offer for the spot. Okay. Again, you have the option of picking which categories are going to be on the wait list. Again, I'm going to just check that for everybody, and I'm going to hit manual. Next, you can decide, so how long is the invitation you're sending people to register good for? I mean, you don't want to leave it open-ended. You want to give them a time frame so you can go on to the next person. And you can choose as a day, as a number of hours, sort of so many weekdays. Let's just say I'm going to give them 1 day before I go on to the next. And if they missed that 1 day expiration time, what do I want that message to say? Right, I'm just putting that in as a placeholder. That's not what I would really say to a real client. And then you have to pick which fields you would like people to fill out when their name is being added to the wait list. I can see all the fields here. I want to add that. Let's just go that. These are all fields on the templates attendee info page. That's enough for me. And now I can hit save and stay and save this feature. Lovely. Okay. Now there's some other fields here you'll note where you can add additional information that will appear on the waitlist page when people land on it. A sold out message. What do you want it to say? A sign up header, sign up text. Sometimes these little tooltips are not very helpful. They're just repeating the obvious. But one note about the waitlist feature is this is very tricky to test. It can only be tested when you are live. So after you've done your regular testing, go live and test it. And put in a minimum number of people to trigger this so you can see it in action. Okay, unfortunately, you cannot see it when you're in pre-event, and there is no page in preview event that displays what this looks like. So, got to be live, and you have to have put yourself in a sold-out situation to trigger it when you do test. After you've tested successfully and seen it, you can easily change, whatever set off the trigger, and you're good to go. All right. So how do you manage people on the wait list? Well, Stova does have some ways, and that's when we're going to go over to the registrations module and down to reports and functions. Actually, before I jump there, they will be listed on the summary report. If you have your sessions listing, and they'll start popping up here. Again, I have no sessions currently programmed. If you've enabled waitlisting, you will see basically a sub-item line for that session named waitlist, and it will tell you after it's reached capacity or your event's reached capacity who's on the waitlist, right? Or that there are people on the waitlist. So you can see that in the summary report. Now let's go to reports and functions. And now that I've activated waitlist, I can go to the waitlist report under registration functions. And then this would give me a list of everyone who is on the wait list with a couple extra features. Again, I don't see anything because I've not pre-populated with attendees or registrants yet, but you would see their names, and this would also give you control over the order of which people will be given the option to get the invitation for the wait list. You'll see their names listed here, and you'll have controls to mark them, move them in the queue, and you also have information on whether or not you're waiting to hear back from them, that you've sent them the invitation, and are you able to hear back from them. You can also pull up some reports here on their status. So are they still waitlisted? Did the email get sent, or did they register? Are you looking for them through certain categories? Again, I don't have any categories listed here. And you're just keeping track that this is on the manual send situation, so there's also going to be a way for you to determine how many notifications you want sent out. Perhaps you want to send out a batch, say 4 or 5, because you only expect for 1 or 2 to actually listen, or you've got a batch of open seats you're trying to fill. So fill out the number here under send notifications and then hit send. And that will send the invite, that email we talked about, to your list. Okay. All right. Well, with that, I've actually come to the end of my presentation for today. And now I'm going to open it up for questions. If you have any questions about navigating Stova, you have any questions about using our templates or how to create an event registration site, or anything we talked about today about setting up the event details, uh, using registrant rules to enable group bookings or modifications, or how to manage waitlisting. Is there a specific Stova access needed to create events? When you ask for a user account and you're asked what level of permissions um, you would like to have to create registration sites, you need level 1 or level 2. The difference is level 2, you're limited to, you can create as many sites as you want, but you cannot modify registration sites created by other people. Level 1, you can clone, and you can clone other people's events. You just can't go in and edit them if they were created by other people. Level 1 allows you to do that, allows you to modify other people's registration sites. So you decide level 1's the most commonly asked for, but those are the two you need. One of those two you need to create events. Yeah, sure, no problem. Now, since we have a little extra time, I'm going to go back to the beginning and show you the third way of moving files around. Let's go back to our scene here. And again, to get there, I can either go to events or I can click the hamburger. I'll click the hamburger and click view all events. Okay, so this is the third way of moving files and systems around, or files and folders around. So I'm going to can pick a event and I want to put it into a different folder. I can simply click on it from here and drag it into the other folder, and boom, now I'll find it in that folder. So that's the third way you can use for if you've made a mistake and actually put it copied and you forgot, oh, I forgot. I was in a hurry, I forgot, and just copied my event into the templates folder. I don't want that. That's how you can get it out of the templates folder and move it into another team folder. That's your bonus hint for the day as we end our session. Okay. Well, without further questions, let's wrap this up. If you do have questions after you leave here today, here are the support options available to you. You can contact Laura and I, or a lot of the users of Stova at ASU, by going to our Slack channel. Just post your questions, let the hive mind of other Stova users answer. Whether it's a feature question or you just have, how would you handle this situation? That's a great place to put those kind of questions. You can go to our website, stova.asu.edu, where we have a lot of support docs and how-to videos. Send us an email, stova@asu.edu. Happy to answer your questions or set up a time where you just need a private one-on-one with us. That's fine. We have a lot of these webinar videos on our YouTube channel. You're welcome to go back and visit those. And we have, as I said, more webinars coming up. This is first part of a series that we're doing this term. We also have webinars on event emails, on how to do reporting in Stova, how to handle check-in and badging, and also a special new session this term on the mobile app feature of Stova. You can also come to what we call office hours every Tuesday from 1:30 to 2:30. Laura and I will be in a Zoom room answering questions. Just come in, and happy to help you there as well. We post those times and that link in the Slack channel. And then if you do have questions, you're desperate for answers, but it's after office hours, you can contact the vendor themselves by email or through their support site, which you can get to through your user account. So again, thanks for coming today. Hope you found this helpful, and hope to see you at future webinars. So have a good rest of your day. Bye now.